On the night of May 26, 1991, Lauda Air Flight 004, a Boeing 767, departed Bangkok's Don Muang Airport for a long haul to Vienna via Hong Kong. It was a routine international passenger flight full of dreams and destinations. But just 15 minutes into the climb, something unimaginable occurred. An aircraft lost control at cruise power and plunged into the dense jungle of northwest Thailand. All 223 souls on board perished instantly when the aircraft broke apart on impact. This is the story of Lauda Air Flight 004, a tragedy that reshaped aviation safety forever. Flight NG-004, operated by Austrian carrier Lauda Air, was flown by a Boeing, a relatively modern aircraft delivered only a year earlier. The flight crew and passengers expected a comfortable, uneventful flight over Southeast Asia. Airborne in night visual meteorological conditions, the aircraft climbed toward its cruising altitude. Nothing out of the ordinary. One of the central technical components on board was the thrust reverser system, designed strictly for use on the ground after landing. Certification requirements assumed a thrust reverser could never deploy in flight. Yet the system had a known vulnerability. Although it had two independent locks, shared wiring in the aircraft could allow a common fault to energize both systems simultaneously, something investigators later identified as a possible cause of the accident. About 15 minutes after departure, the aircraft's #1 engine thrust reverser deployed without command. This was an event that engineers believed couldn't happen, but it did. The airflow disruption from reverse thrust on one wing caused a severe loss of lift. Far beyond what Boeing's original certification tests, the aircraft began an abrupt roll toward the left, beyond the pilot's ability to correct. Cockpit voice recorder data shows a calm flight until sudden shuddering and confusion. The co-pilot recognized the problem, reverses deployed, but by then the aircraft was already deep in an uncontrollable aerodynamic spiral. Pilots tried full opposite rudder and aileron inputs and even attempted to shut down the affected engine, but with lift lost over one wing, recovery was impossible. Aircraft altitude and speed climbed briefly before the reversal event, then everything changed. The dramatic roll turned into a dive, and the stresses on the airframe exceeded design limits. The Boeing 767 disintegrated in flight, wings and tail separating before the fuselage impacted the jungle below. There were no survivors. All 213 passengers and 10 crew perished. Investigators from the Thai government's Aircraft Accident Investigation Committee scoured wreckage and data. The flight data recorder was so badly damaged by post-crash fire that no usable data could be recovered. Though the precise technical trigger for the reverser deployment was never conclusively identified, the probable cause was deemed to be uncommanded thrust reverser deployment in flight, leading to loss of control. One critical revelation was that certification assumptions about reverser deployment safety were flawed. The industry assumed even if thrust reversal occurred, the aircraft could remain controllable, but a reverser deployment at high speed and altitude was far more catastrophic than tests had indicated. The aerodynamic consequences were underestimated, and the pilots were given only a narrow window of a few seconds to react to a condition that developed almost instantaneously. The Lauda Air 004 accident triggered a re-evaluation of thrust reverser system design across the industry. Regulators and manufacturers introduced more robust safeguards, including mechanical interlocks and triple fail-safes to ensure reversers cannot deploy in flight. These design changes and new certification standards were applied to Boeing 767s and many other aircraft types. Though every life on board was lost, the legacy of Lauda Air 004 is its contribution to preventing similar catastrophes in the future, a somber but decisive step in aviation safety.
Learn more about aviation safety. Subscribe for more investigation videos.